So a while ago I built my mate a PC, it was actually on a stream, you can check that out up in the cards, and I decided to do a negative airflow pressure setup on that case because frankly that front panel is quite closed off and I wanted to see how it would fare over time with a negative airflow pressure setup. So let's find out how it's fared over time right after this.
Want to get rid of that annoying activation watermark but don't want to have to pay an arm and a leg? Head to cdkoffers.com today to get Windows 10 Pro for just $11 after using the promo code in the description down below. Simply sign up, buy using a safe and secure payment method like PayPal, and activate. Everything you need to get activated is in the description down below, so check it out today. So after opening up this case, you'll notice that there is dust pretty much everywhere. The GPU, the power supply basement, the CPU fan, etc, etc. But what does that actually tell us? Basically it tells us that a negative air pressure setup accumulates more dust inside of a PC over time, at least in this case, than say a positive pressure setup where the fans are most often placed in the front where there's usually a dust filter of some kind. But it's not necessarily that black and white. In terms of which type of case airflow setup you should go for on your rig, that actually still depends on your case. For example, some cases might have a completely closed off front panel, thermal take, and so putting the fans in the front of those cases, it actually won't do anything in terms of airflow because they're completely choked and they're not actually moving any air. Whereas if you put the fans in the top and then the back is exhaust, they can assist the CPU and GPU with pulling in air from other locations like the PCIe slots and the bottom of the case. But if your case has a pretty much unrestricted path of air through the front of the case like the Silverstone RL06, it can actually make sense to do a positive airflow setup because it actually helps to push air over components. But that can also lead to more dust buildup on your CPU and GPU coolers, depending on if the front is actually filtered or not. But of course, if you have a bunch of fans or if you're planning on decking out your PC with the max amount of fans possible, the general recommendation of intake at the front and bottom and exhaust at the back and top still stand. But if you're concerned about your VRM and CPU temps while using a downfiring CPU cooler, you can also flip your back exhaust fan to be intake, but that will generally equate in more dust buildup around your CPU region because it's usually completely unrestricted in that region. But anyway, in conclusion, it really depends on your case. If you have a sealed front panel and you have a limited number of fans, it's generally a good idea to go negative pressure and put those fans in the top and back as exhaust. But if your front panel is mostly unrestricted with a dust filter, putting the majority of your fans at the front as intake and putting one at the rear as exhaust is generally the best setup for dust prevention and airflow. However, if you don't actually care about dust at all, you could even make your top and rear fans intake if you really wanted to cool down your CPU. It's really up to you. But anyway, that's it for this video. If you guys found it helpful, feel free to chuck me a like down below, and also make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and also hit that bell notification so that you get notified whenever I upload. Anyway everyone, I'll see you all in the next video.